This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Joining us today is Mark Sale, the CEO of First Class Metals. Hello, Mark. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, Mark. And yourself?
Very good, thank you. Well, thank you for joining us. We're going to get an update on your North Hemlo. That's your flagship project. Of course, some news released today. Could you just give us a brief overview of what the work entailed here at North Hemlo and which parts of the exploration that you've been doing or parts of the property have got you most intrigued?
Well, it's not an easy question to answer, Mark, because it's all exciting. But yes, let's try and pull it apart a bit. And I have to say, a lot of our excitement has been rekindled by the Geophysics survey, which we've now had interpreted, which we flew early last year. That's really helped our understanding. But the Dead Otter Lake trend, yes, it's a stellar performance in many ways. It's what every explorationist hopes for, is that you go into an area, you identify something, and the assay results come back. And as Bruce has said, it's one of, if not possibly the highest grab sample that has been recorded in recent times, certainly on the North Hemlo limb. So here we are with a 3 kilometre trend, which is growing in importance. I don't think it might not grow in length anymore, but it's growing in importance. Not only has it got gold, but it's got molybdenum as well. And as we both know, that's a key pathfinder evidence mineral, for the Hemlo style deposits. Additionally, the trend seems to be hugging the sheared contact with the batholith, which is never a bad thing. They're having shearing and close to these plutons, which are a lot of the plumbing system for these mineralized deposits. I think also, personally, I'm also intrigued and excited by these subparallel trends, which have shown up in the historic as well as our soil anomalies. So that's something that we've got to explore in the future. So that's Dead Otter. Of course, up in the northeast, the Pezim II block with Palladium 1, that just continues to excite us, the drill results that they're putting out. And of course, the fact that it's slowly creeping on to more of the North Hemlo 100% first class metals, which means that we will be doing more work up in that area come the start of the field season. In fact, we have been doing work up there this month. The guys have been out, and as you know, they was it 70 odd lake sediment samples that they've collected so far in this campaign, all on North Hemlo, as well as identifying some very interesting outcrop on some of these no-name lakes. So we've got those aspects. Then, of course, we've got the Dead Otter. No, sorry, we've done the Dead Otter, the Dotted Lake, too many lakes in Ontario. The Dotted Lake trend, which is sort of continuing towards a lake where we've had some very anomalous gold results coming out of, as well as some base metals. So we've got that fair service trend that comes onto our property. It's now being sort of vectored towards lake sediment anomalism and some very interesting magnetics, which has been shown up by the Geophysics survey. So there's 3 hot areas straight away, apart from the other structures that the magnetic survey has highlighted for us, which we will be honing in on in the new field season. So if we only had one property and it was North Hemlo, it would still be exciting times for First Class.
Excellent. Okay, well, you've mentioned this Dead Otter Lake trend, or DOLT, as it's often abbreviated to, and that 3 kilometre long trend with that 19.6 gram per tonne gold taken from grab samples, and that's a huge grade to have. And grab samples, as I understand, is just walking around on the ground picking stuff up. So to sort of find that, that's probably quite a good thing, isn't it, Mark? Can you walk us through sort of how you identified this trend and what particular makes it so important? You've mentioned there about the plumbing system, and if you can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well, of course, we started off with the historic dead otter lake anomaly, which was a 3.7 gram gold and 4.9% molly, I think, from memory. And the guys, I mean, I was lucky enough to be with them on two separate occasions. They just followed that trend, sort of with reconnaissance line traverses back and forth until they picked it up. And it comes and goes. It's not like a road. It's not continuous because of the change in the topography and the cover. But yes, it's punctuated but semi-continuous along 3.7 kilometres at the moment. And we've got 3.7 gram at one end, and as you say, 19.6 towards the southeast end. And along there, other anomalous samples in the grams, as well as other elements, pathfinder elements, which are also anomalous. So it's an emerging trend. I think that's the proper way to put it. We need to get in there. We need to do more traverses, more sampling, closer sampling, mapping, and then ultimately, one would hope, once we've cleared the exploration permits, then we would be able to do some trenching and drilling.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I wonder if we can just have a look at some pictures that you took when you were on site, or certainly came from the recent exploration that's been going on there. So, I mean, we have a couple of pictures here. This first one here is really looking at a rock sample here. Can you explain what we're looking at?
Yes, what we're looking at here is it's mostly silica quartz, if you like, but you can see the banding in there, which is the more mafic minerals, and it's normally where the molybdenum is hosted. But you get the impression that this rock has been intruded and then sheared, which are all good ingredients for any orogenic gold system, and very similar, of course, to the barrack, which is a shear-hosted deposit.
Okay, excellent. Now, the other picture that we have, there's 3 rock chip samples here.
Yeah, and I think that even more emphasises this sheared appearance of the rock. You can see the sort of elongated sections of the quartz and the phenic minerals in there. And that was from near the actual historic dead otter trend. So it's quite possibly got several percent molybdenum in it.
Okay. So what you're seeing here, early signs are encouraging, are they?
Oh, extremely. As I said, it's every explorationist's hope that you'll go out, you'll take some samples. If it looks encouraging, you take more samples. But then when you get the assays back, and that actually confirms why you were excited or encouraged. What it's about, Mark, is generating reason to go back at every level. You go out there and mapping, and the mapping looks encouraging. So you go back and do some sampling, and the assay looks encouraged. So you go back there and you take some more samples until you build up a picture, and eventually you define a drill target. So everything we've done so far on North Hemlo is encouraged us to go back and do more work.
Excellent. We're talking about going back, Mark, and of course I do pick up on the news from Enable earlier this month as well, the Enable property there. Given what's going on, you seem to be very active during this, let's say, non-active drill season over in Canada here. How are things shaping up for when the real drilling season starts to get going? I guess you're making plans. You've talked a lot there about going up and doing more traversing, more sampling, more mapping. So how are things shaping up for when the real active drill season kicks off, which is about the springtime, isn't it?
Yes, once the thaws come. It varies from year to year, obviously, Mark, but we hope that we'll be on the ground again by May as we were last year. It might be a little bit earlier. And certainly certain areas like Essa, where they've done clear felling and the ground isn't shaded, the snow melts a lot quicker. So we've got a vigorous exploration program planned with Emerald Geological Services for next year. We're currently, as I say, doing lake sediment work, and we'll be doing lake sediment work on 4 of the properties. So that's Cocoa East, Enable, Essa, and North Hemlo. We're also currently undertaking a deep dive into the historic literature for Sunbeam. so that we can hit the ground running on that. And we're also conducting an archaeological survey, which is one of the prerequisites by the First Nations for us before we can get on and do any invasive work. As you know, Sunbeam is permitted, so we as soon as we have a veritable drill target, we can get in there and drill it. But drill rigs are a little bit of a bottleneck in Ontario at the moment. And we've just yesterday completed a geophysics survey of Sugar Cube, our most eastern property. And that wasn't only magnetics, but it was also an EM survey. And as you'll recall, Sugar Cube is up against the Silver Lake's 1.6 million ounce deposit. So yes, even though it's non-field season, we are still generating information and hope to have a very healthy news flow in the foreseeable future.
Well, it certainly sounds like it's going to be a very active period of exploration on the ground there when we get round to the field season for real in the spring. And with that, plenty of news flow to come to market.
Absolutely. We now have almost all the assays back from last field season. The only ones we're still waiting on is those last soil lines that the guys did in minus God knows what, minus whatever it was, a real sterling effort from them. Other than that, we have everything back. So yes, there's going to be, we started off with the Enable one, and now we've done the North Hemlo. So there will be a progression of news releases on the other properties, probably leading up to ESSA when we have all the soil lines back, but also comments on the geophysics as well as the literature review from Sunbeam.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to talking to you, Mark, and going through those exploration plans when it is appropriate to do that. But for now, thank you very much, Mark Sale, the CEO of First Class Metals, for your time.
Not a problem. And don't forget, I'll be in Vancouver on the weekend for the Cambridge seminar if anyone's in the area and they want to see some rocks.
Excellent.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. You take care.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.